In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Across the galaxy, humanity clings to existence in monuments of their own making. Hive cities, vertical worlds that pierce the sky like daggers thrust into the heart of heaven itself. Each spire houses billions. Each level tells the story of mankind's fall from grace. This is Hive Primus on the world of Necromunda, home to 40 billion souls, hell built from plasteel and prayers. Welcome to humanity's future. From the golden spires that scrape the upper atmosphere to the Underhive's toxic depths, 20 kilometers of vertical civilization crushes the human spirit into shapes unrecognizable to their ancestors. This is not a city. This is a machine that consumes hope and excrete corpses. The Spire. At the peak of Hive Primus, the Spire nobility breathe recycled air that costs more than most workers earn in a lifetime. Lord Commander Hastings adjusts his ceremonial power armor, its gold trim reflecting light that has never touched the Hive's lower levels. His family has ruled this Spire for 3,000 years. He does not know the names of the 40 billion people beneath his feet. The Spire exists in perpetual twilight, its crystal domes filtering the toxic atmosphere of Necromunda's surface. Here, the Imperium's elite play games of politics while worlds burn beyond the void. Their greatest concern is not heresy or alien invasion, but which noble house will control the next trade route to the outer systems. Lady Celestine monitors the Hive's vital statistics from her command throne. Food distribution, adequate for upper Hive consumption. Water recycling, functioning at 67% efficiency. Population control. 17,000 terminated this cycle for overpopulation violations. Numbers, statistics, data points that represent human lives reduced to computational efficiency. The servo skulls whisper reports of gang wars in the Underhive, of mutant uprisings in the Sump, of chaos cults spreading through the lower levels like cancer through dying flesh. She files these reports under acceptable losses and returns to planning her daughter's wedding. Tonight, the noble houses feast while the Hive starves. They consume delicacies imported from a dozen star systems, while their subjects survive on corpse starch and recycled protein. They toast the Emperor's glory while forgetting that the Emperor once walked among common men. This is not evil, this is inevitable. Captain Vex patrols the Spire's outer perimeter, his bolt pistol loaded with ammunition that could feed a family for a month. He serves the noble houses with absolute loyalty, believing that hierarchy is sacred, that some men are born to rule while others are born to serve. He has never descended below the upper Hive. He does not know that the foundation of his perfect world is built on bones. The nobility's greatest achievement is not their wealth or their power. It is their ability to remain ignorant of the price paid for their comfort. They rule a vertical hell and call it heaven. But even in the Spire, perfection is an illusion. The air recyclers fail more frequently each year. The cogitators require constant maintenance to prevent system collapse. The golden dome that protects them from Necromunda's toxic atmosphere shows hairline cracks that grow wider with each passing season. The upper Hive. Descending from the Spire's golden heights, the upper Hive reveals humanity's true purpose in the 41st millennium. Endless labor in service to the machine god and the golden throne. Here, 10 billion workers toil in factoriums that stretch across entire Hive levels, producing las weapons, ammunition, and equipment for the Imperium's endless wars. Supervisor Caney watches over Assembly Line Omega-7, where workers assemble bolt shells for the Adeptus Astartes. Each shell requires 47 separate components. Each worker performs one specific task. Each day they produce 10,000 instruments of death. They do not know where these weapons will be used. They do not ask. The Adeptus Mechanicus oversees production with the fervor of true believers. Tech Priest Dominus Zereth chants the litany of activation as massive assembly lines roar to life. His augmetic limbs dance across holy control panels, flesh and machine united in perfect servitude to the Omnissiah. To the Tech Priests, the workers are merely biological components in a vast machine. When they break, they are replaced. When they malfunction, they are repaired or recycled. Efficiency is sacred. Productivity is prayer. The workers begin their shifts before dawn and end them after midnight. They live in hab blocks, stacked like ammunition in storage crates. They eat processed protein derived from sources better left unexamined. They marry, reproduce, and die without ever seeing natural sunlight. This is not oppression. This is order. Worker designation 7749-Delta returns to his hab block after a 16-hour shift. He shares a sleeping space with 7 other workers. The air recyclers wheeze with mechanical emphysema. The water rations taste of metal and desperation. His wife died in a factory accident 3 months ago. His son was recruited into the Astra Militarum last week. His daughter works in the food processing plant on level 847, turning unidentifiable organic matter into edible paste. He does not question his existence. He does not dream of something better. Hope is a luxury the upper hive can't afford. The Adeptus Arbites maintain order through the simple application of violence. Judge Castillo patrols the hab block districts with his shock maul charged and his bolt pistol loaded. Crime is not punished, it is cauterized. Steal food, execution. Speak against the Imperium, execution. Fail to meet production quotas, execution. Question the Emperor's will, execution. Order is maintained not through justice, but through terror so absolute that even the thought of resistance becomes impossible. On the day of supplication, 10 million workers gather in the cathedral of the upper hive to pray for the Emperor's blessing. They kneel on floors made slick with the sweat of their own devotion. They sing hymns that echo through air thick with incense and industrial exhaust. Preacher Mordian delivers sermons about duty, sacrifice, and the sacred nature of suffering. He tells them that their pain serves the Emperor. He promises them that their deaths will have meaning in the cosmic struggle against chaos and Xenos corruption. They believe him. They must believe him. Without faith, there is only the abyss, the middle hive. Between the upper hive's industrial order and the underhive's complete chaos lies the middle hive, a realm where humanity's entrepreneurial spirit battles against the Imperium's crushing bureaucracy. Here, 15 billion souls exist in a state of controlled anarchy, trading scrap metal, recycled water, and black market goods. Merchant Prince Calvus runs a trading house that spans 12 hive levels. He deals in everything from reclaimed weapons to illegal stims, from recycled protein to forbidden knowledge. His greatest skill is knowing exactly how much corruption he can afford before the Adeptus Arbites takes notice. In the middle hive, survival depends not on following orders, but on breaking them intelligently. The markets never sleep. Vendors hawk their wares in voices hoarse from shouting over the constant hum of air recyclers and power generators. Children run through the crowds picking pockets, learning the art of survival through theft and deception. Elderly traders count coins worn smooth by 10,000 transactions. But commerce requires protection, and protection comes from the gangs. The Goliath House controls the heavy industry sectors, The Escher chemicals dominate the pharmaceutical trade. The Van Saar syndicate monopolizes technology smuggling. Each gang maintains order in their territory through violence as precise as any imperial doctrine. Gang leader Thresh adjusts his flak armor and checks his autogun's ammunition counter. Tonight, the corpse grinder cult has been spotted in Sector 7 Alpha. Their cannibalistic rituals threaten the delicate balance of Middle Hive commerce. Business must be protected. Order must be maintained. Blood must be spilled. The gangs serve the same function as the Adeptus Arbites, but with more creativity and less paperwork. They understand that in the Middle Hive, law is not about justice, it's about predictable violence. In the fighting pits of Sector 12, gladiators battle for the entertainment of crowds hungry for blood and spectacle. These are not noble warriors. They are desperate souls who have chosen violence over starvation, death in the arena over slow extinction in the factories. Gladiator Maxius wields a chainsword scavenged from a dead space marine. His opponent carries an Eldar power blade stolen from a Xenocide campaign. They fight not for glory or honor, but for enough throne geld to buy their families another week of life. The crowd screams for blood. They have so little control over their own lives that watching others die becomes the only power they can exercise. Violence is entertainment. Entertainment is escape. Escape is survival. The lower hive. Descending deeper into Hive Primus, the last pretense of civilization crumbles away. The lower hive houses 5 billion forgotten souls, the unemployed, the criminal, the mutant, and the mad. Here, the Imperium's grand vision of ordered society collapses into brutal Darwinian struggle. Settlement leader Vance governs a community of 10,000 refugees from the upper levels. They live in structures built from scrap metal and faith, powered by jury-rigged generators that fail more often than they function. Their water comes from condensation pipes. Their food comes from whatever can be hunted in the hive's darker depths. They are citizens of the Imperium. Technically, the lower hive operates by different rules. The strong protect the weak if the weak can pay. The smart exploit the stupid if they can avoid being killed. The lucky survive another day if luck can be found in hell. But even the forgotten have their outcasts. In the deepest shadows of the lower hive, the mutants gather. Gamma radiation from the hive's ancient power cores has twisted their flesh into shapes that mock the Emperor's perfect human form. 3 eyes, webbed fingers, skin that glows with radioactive corruption. Mutant leader Kresh was born with gills that allow him to breathe the toxic air of the deeper levels. His followers call him blessed. The Imperium calls him an abomination. He calls himself whatever keeps his people alive for another day. The mutants know they are doomed. Imperial doctrine demands their extermination. But in the lower hive, doctrine is a luxury no one can afford. The Underhive. At the bottom of Hive Primus lies the Underhive, a realm of ancient ruins, toxic lakes, and things that should not exist. This is where the hive dumps its waste, its criminals, and its mistakes. Here, in chambers that predate the Imperium itself, the worst of humanity makes its final stand. The air burns the lungs, the water dissolves metal, the darkness hides horrors that would drive sane men mad. And yet, life persists. Underhive scavenger Rex leads expeditions into the deepest ruins, searching for archaeotech from humanity's golden age. His team wears rebreathers salvaged from corpses and carries weapons that fire radiation slugs instead of bullets. They hunt for treasures in tombs that were already ancient when the Emperor walked among men. In the deepest chambers of the Underhive, where even the mutants fear to tread, the Chaos cults gather. Cultist Vex leads rituals that honor the dark gods, Khorne's blood, Nurgle's decay, Tzeentch's change, and Slanesh's excess. They offer prayers to powers that answer back with gifts of mutation and madness. The cultists are not evil, they are desperate. When the Emperor's light cannot reach you, other lights begin to look appealing. Their rituals tear holes in reality itself. Through these wounds, demons seep into the material universe like pus from an infected wound. The barriers between the material realm and the warp grow thinner with each passing day. The reckoning. The corruption cannot be contained forever. When reports of demon manifestations reach the Spire, the response is swift and absolute. Inquisitor Valerius descends into the Underhive with a full company of Adeptus Sororitas, their flamers loaded with blessed promethium and their faith burning brighter than their weapons. They do not come to save the Underhive, they come to cleanse it. Sister Superior Cassandra leads the advance through toxic corridors that have not seen Imperial presence in centuries. Her squad's flamers turn mutants into ash and cultists into screaming torches. She shows no mercy because mercy is weakness, and weakness serves chaos. The purge begins at the bottom and works its way up. Every level that shows signs of corruption must be sterilized. Every citizen who has been exposed to heretical influence must be eliminated. Every structure that has housed blasphemy must be demolished. The flames spread upward through the Hive's ventilation systems. Entire levels burn as the Imperium's cleansing fire consumes the corruption that has festered in darkness. The smoke carries the ashes of 10 million souls who committed the crime of existing in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lord Commander Hastings watches from his crystal dome as the lower levels burn. He orders the blast doors sealed to prevent the fire from reaching the upper hive. 20 billion people will die, but the Spire will survive. Order will be maintained. This is not cruelty. This is necessity. The fire burns for 7 days and 7 nights. When it finally dies, half the hive lies in ruins. The survivors emerge from the ashes transformed, harder, colder, more willing to accept that suffering is the natural state of humanity. And in the deepest chambers, where even the flames could not reach, new cults begin to gather. New mutations begin to spread. New corruption begins to fester. The cycle begins again. Within a year, new hab blocks rise from the ashes. New factories open their doors. New workers take their positions at assembly lines that produce the same weapons, the same ammunition, the same tools of war that fed the Imperium's endless hunger. They do not speak of the purge. They do not mourn the dead. They do not question why the fire was necessary. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And war requires soldiers, weapons, and cities that can burn and be rebuilt over and over for 10,000 years. This is life in a Hive City. This is humanity's future. This is the price of survival in the 41st millennium. And perhaps, this is exactly what humanity deserves. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. But in the vertical hells of the Hive cities, war is just another word for Tuesday.